How you doing, you guys? Here we are back for our last video before lockout, and this one we're going to be going through all three teams: the people squad, my team, and also the alternates. Not a hell of a lot happening in this one. A couple of trades in our people squad, one in the alternates, and 0 in my team currently. This may change depending on if there's any late injuries or anything like that, but we'll go from there. So in the people squad this week, we've decided to trade in Mitch Moses and Reece Walsh for. Who have we got? Who do we have in there? Trades were O'Sullivan and also Turpin. So two guys that one's dropped out of the side. Turpin's losing minutes and should start losing points and also losing some cash. So found that a good opportunity to move those two on, and obviously that left us with a fair bit of market cap left, and decided to go with Moses at 680 and Walsh with the cheaper one. Again, leaves us with 292k for following weeks. And I had a look at the types of players we could get instead of Walsh. He's someone that I'm slightly worried about at the moment in terms of his job security. Very similar to that of a couple of the cheaper guys that, in this week. You got CHN, who, with Rick Stewart changing his team very regularly at the moment, there's a chance that he gets moved to the bench or something like that, and his money making potential goes right down the toilet. You got someone like Josh Curran, who, again, Warriors are changing their team regularly, and he could score well also, but same with Walsh. They all could score really well and make you some good cash if they stay in the team, but coach came out and said that he won't be playing every game. So maybe the goal for Walsh is to get him up until the bye period, and then we can move him on then. But for a lot of teams needing some cover this week for Tedesco, I feel like he's a good option to bring in just for that reason solely. So this allows us a second gun half. Our interchange looks solid again. We've got a couple of those those middle guys that are scoring okay, and Stefano, Leniu, and Fulmayano. So goals over the next few weeks, we'll be looking to move those guys on. But this makes our middle and edge a lot stronger, along with our halves and Averillo and Peachy scoring well. I think we should have a fairly solid week. But any team that's holding Mom and Pap at the moment is going to be hurt in the interim, and there's not a lot we can do, unfortunately, unless you're looking to trade those guys. But when you already have Turpin, who's a bit of an issue right now, and O'Sullivan, it's just a bit of a clean-up week, and that makes complete sense. And from there, if there's any injuries to a couple of the mid-range players, even if we decided we want to upgrade a Leniu, a Tikamanu, or a Fulmayano next week, then we have 650, 700k to do so. So that's something interesting to think about with the people squad. But down to 23 trades now, which is looking a bit sad, but is what it is, and sometimes you just have to do that when you have some issues in the squad. So ranks at 1760. This is kind of where we're at, and we're hoping to maintain that rank over the next bunch of weeks and see how we go over the bye period. So that's that one, guys. We'll move on to the alternates now, and just decided to make one trade this week, and I've left myself a little bit open to some issues if Teddy doesn't play, but I did just decide to bring Lucy Leilua in. So again, another move of moving on Turpin. So Turpin, I had a little bit extra cash in the bank, so Turpin to Leilua I thought was a really cool option. Now I've got McCulloch and Brayley as my hookers, Watson 12, Crichton, Fafita, Leilua, with then Curran as cover on the edge, as well as Stefano, for example, in the middle, which is completely fine. And I'm sitting with Moses and Schuster in the half, so obviously that's a position I'd like to improve over the next bunch of weeks, but I think those guys will be able to hold steady for me. Rapana, Averillo, and then you got Teddy, Laurie, and Todd down the bottom, so completely fine with those types of guys. Brayley, Simpkin, Walker, and Curran as our 4 on the bench. So I'm pretty happy with that 4 in terms of the interchange. I don't have to play Fulmayano, Stefano, these types of guys. I can let them sit back this week, whilst holding Pap and Mom. I thought that was going to be a pretty solid one trade this week. My issue is, if Teddy doesn't play, I'll be playing with 16. But I'm like, do I use the second trade for Walsh? Do I use it? That's kind of the only guy I can pick up at this point, unless I want to trade Mom, but had 33k in the bank. It's like you trade Mom for a Bird or something like that, but I'd want Mom back in the squad in the next couple of weeks. A few people are worried about, Burton's playing well, is he going to keep the spot? But Momorowski's been playing well too. If Momorowski was on the left edge, he would have been killing it just as much as Burton would. I'd definitely think so. Like, they're not, I wouldn't say Burton's a better center than Mom, no way. So he'll come back and play. That'll be fine. But yeah, that's the thoughts for the alternates, guys. Let me know what you think about this team at the moment. Obviously, no Cleary. That could have been an interesting one. The only way I could have got Cleary would be trading Pap, and I think I'm looking to hold on to him. I don't see the I don't see the point. We're not running out of trades. We've got 25 after one trade this week, but if you're trading Pap, you want to have about 27, 28 remaining, I'd say, for it to be worthwhile trading in and out these keepers, because you're going to want him at the back end of the year. He's the best fullback in the game right now in terms of scoring in fantasy. So I think that's kind of the strategy you want to be going, or you completely don't have him at all until maybe right at the end if you have an injury to one of you guys. So that's the thoughts for that one. And then we move to my team, and he is sitting with 25 trades and not actually making any. Is the interesting one. I've got Turpin there, and my thoughts around Terps is like, well, who can I bring in? There's a couple of guys I could, and I would have 690k on the dot. And let's have a little look at that. And there's a few, probably 2, 3 guys that I'm half interested in. Barnett would be one of them, but with Fitzgibbon coming onto the bench fairly soon, is Barnett going to be the one to lose minutes? There's got that question mark there. He's a little bit up and down in his scoring, but he's averaging 57 and is a dual position there. So he's solid. Pango Jr., I'm worried about his suspension risk. I'm also worried about him starting to get less minutes again if something changes. Like, he's already moved from starting to bench to now second row. How many more weeks can his position change is my question with him. I could bring in Moses, and I think he would be the one I'm really, really keen on. But I already have Cleary, Foggs, Walker, Schuster as my halves, and I feel like if I get one more, it's probably overloading a little bit. So I think I'm deciding to hold off on that one. The position I could probably buy someone in is a wing fullback, for example. Like, I can get Gutho here, Adam Dewey. We talked about these types of guys, but again, just not completely sold on them. And I'm like, oh, I have enough cover. Like, I have enough players in the wing fullback right now. Turpin's every chance of still getting 50 minutes, right? And if he does that, he can probably get 35 to 40. And yes, he might lose a bit of cash, but I think for me this week, it's probably better just to hold off on the trades and see what happens next week. Like, I might be able to get served a better cash cow. I might be able to get served a better gun. Maybe someone gets injured and a role comes up for one of these mid-range guys to do really well. I spoke about like Kurt Mann and these types of guys as an option, but other than that, there's not a lot in that middle tier. Thompson and stuff, but there's not a lot there that I'm just really clear cut on. I kind of want to just go right up to a top gun. I'd love to have like a Payne Haas or a Reid Mane or Papali'i, those types of players there right at the top. I think would be smarter. Who else could I go? Lucy Leilua, I'm interested in those types of guys. I just feel like I don't want to go, if I'm making that kind of trade this week, I don't want to go to a guy that I'm not exactly sure if they're a complete keeper on top of their field in the middle of the edge or something like that. So that's kind of my thoughts at the moment. I might make a change during the after the first couple of games, or we'll see where we're at in terms of that. But I'm okay holding these kind of guys in the middle forward guys and playing Simpkin, Walker, Schuster, Turpin, along with the other rest of the team that's doing pretty solid. And we'll have to see if this week I can still improve on my rank, being 954 now, improving each and every week. I think making a trade or two this week might be able to improve my score in the 1 week scenario, but I'm looking more at long term, and I'm seeing if I can bank a few trades over the next few weeks, then I can go ham during the origin period and really push up in my rankings in that period, and that's the thoughts around this one is being able to bank a few of those, and when I say bank, I mean not use all my trades, because you only get 34. If you can see up there, I've got 25 remaining across the whole year, so I've had a few questions on that, but that's kind of the thoughts on the teams, guys. Let me know what you think around those guys, what we could do, what I could do better, any guys you'd be targeting. I'm just not exactly sure about some of the cash cows this week. I was pretty keen on Walsh, and then heard what's going to happen with him, and CHT's coming back, and blah, blah, blah. So all happening a little bit. I think it might just be worth just holding steady, copying the 20k loss that Turpin might get. If he's lucky and banks a try or something like that, even better. But I think it's probably best just to play in this week. Take the 35-40 and move on. So that's where we're at, guys. That's the thoughts on the team. Let me know what you thought, and we'll see you in the next one. Please hit like and subscribe, and we'll go from there. Bye, guys.